Hey, Dragon Slayers. It's been about 2 hours since my last meal. Blood sugar's 95. My last meal was 6 eggs with about a quarter of a tablespoon of butter. So today's video is all about eating like it's winter in the ancient world to lose fat. The combination of carbs and fat together is unique in how incredibly rewarding it can be, but it's also unique in one other way. This combination rarely occurs in nature. Just think about it. What foods in nature are both high in carbs and high in fat at the exact same time? Plenty of foods are high in carbs, and plenty of foods are high in fat, but very few are both high in carbs and fat simultaneously. There are two exceptions. One is mammalian milk. Milk is very high in energy, both carbs in the form of lactose and milk fat. All mammalian milk is high in both carbs and fat energy for good reasons. This food is designed to drive as much overeating as possible because you really want to turn a small baby mammal into a larger mammal as fast as possible to ensure its viability and survivability. The second food in nature that is high in carbs and fat at the same time are certain nuts, like acorns. Yep, it's autumn. It's like one of the most common foods for squirrels. And when you think about it, it's sort of a plant version of milk. Now, this helps drive fat storage in squirrels and bears and other animals that need to store enough fat to survive wintertime. Because all food energy, carbs and fat, is solar energy, which has been converted to chemical energy by plants, we see the very highest levels of dietary energy at the end of summertime. Plant carbohydrates are at their peak and animals are at their fattest. So herbivores get the highest amount of carbohydrate energy from plants, and carnivores get the highest amount of energy, animal fat, from fatter animals. Omnivores get the best of both worlds. And your bear, who is eating berries and acorns and fattier fish, etc., is going to gain plenty of fat on its body to help it survive the winter. In the winter, plant carbohydrates are scarce to non existent. Similarly, animals are much leaner because they too are trying to find dietary energy to survive. As a result, the energy content of all plants and animals falls considerably. It is in this wintertime diet of high in protein percentage but lower in carbs and fats that we are trying to emulate with the protein to energy concept when our goal is fat loss. Fat and glucose are oxidized reciprocally in your cells. The intracellular availability of glucose, not fat, controls the substrate that is oxidized primarily for energy. This system works brilliantly for allowing maximum fat storage in times of high energy, back when increased carbohydrates and fats were only seasonally available. But eating this way for too long breaks the system. So now we know that obesity is contributed to by carbs and fats in two ways. First of all, this non protein energy dilutes the protein and minerals in our diet to the point that we have to eat more energy just to satisfy our nutrient hunger, or the need for protein and minerals. And secondly, the rarely found in nature but found in all junk food combination of carbs and fats together is uniquely rewarding and addictive and drives overeating in a way that was helpful during most of our human history but is now turned against us in the modern food environment. So, how do we fight back? Target protein and minerals and simultaneously try to lower either fat or carbs or both at all times. The protein to energy approach just so happens to check both of these boxes, which is why it's so darn effective. Eating whole foods is a pretty easy way to avoid the carbs plus fat combo, as long as you avoid nuts and dairy, or at least milk. Fermented dairy seems to be better for the carbohydrates are mostly gone. Learn to recognize the fake man made foods that surround us and use deadly combinations of carbs plus fat as well as low proteins and minerals. So there you go, guys. That's what I've got for you today. Remember that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.